Okay, everyone, welcome along. This is the grade 5 scales for Trinity Trumpet practical exam for you. I'll whiz through these ones because you've got the idea of scales so far. Here's your donut. Bing! Every major and minor scale will go around the donut from whatever note you start on all the way around to that note again, and then you come back down again. Yes, there'll be flats. Yes, there'll be some sharps sometimes. But it'll never skip a note name. It will never play the same note name twice. Useful thing to have in your head. It makes everything much easier to work out if you know that the next note is going to be a B of some description. But is it flat? Is it sharp? Makes the working out much easier. Also, scales aren't hard, they're just unfamiliar. So get to know them, and it makes your life and your exams so much easier. The scales are easy marks. They're so easy. If you can play them, there's like, I don't know how many marks. I've forgotten how many marks it is for scales. It's like 18 or something. No, it's not. It's 12. 14. I think it's 14. Really simple. For grade 5, the difficulty that's introduced here is 1, you've got some 2 octave scales, and there'll be G 2 octaves, so going from bottom G up to top G. So you really need to conserve your air here. Tongued and slurred, as requested by the examiner, and forte or piano. So the examiner will say something like, can you please play me a 2 octave G major scale, forte, slurred? There's a lot to remember there. So you don't want to be thinking about your scale. You want to be thinking about how he's asking you to play it. And it's worth practicing it in all those different ways, because not only will it prepare you for the exam, but it prepares you that scale and the fingers a lot. So rather than practicing the same scale in the same way, practice it loud, practice it quiet, practice it tongued, practice it slurred, all of those things. So let's, without further ado, get you into this. So G major, 2 octaves, you're going to go around that donut twice. From bottom G to the middle G, and then the G again. So bottom G is 1 and 3. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp is the only sharp here in G major, and then you're halfway through. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and top G, and then back down again. Yep. And then you've got to play the arpeggio straight away, which is G, B, D, G, B, D, and then top G, D, B, G, D, B, G. This is what a scale sounds like, and the arpeggio. This is, let's do it piano and tongued. Hints and tips for these 2 octave scales. 1, take a massive breath, because you're going to die halfway through if you don't. 2, keep it speedy but not ridiculous. You don't want to be tripping over your own fingers, but if you go G, A, then you're going to be dead by the 3rd note in, because you ideally want to be able to do it up and down in one breath. If you can't do it up and down in one breath, go as far as you can. Up and then down, take a breath, and then finish it off. And eventually, as you practice, you'll get, there's another note further on, another note further, and you'll get there. You will get there. Take a breath before you do the arpeggio. When it says forte and piano, it's a trumpet forte and a trumpet piano. A piano on a flute is a very different piano to a piano on a trumpet. So don't try and just get the tiniest of notes. Don't sacrifice your note quality for dynamics. So I don't want to hear... Because he said it was piano. I couldn't hear the note. It was rubbish. So the note is the most important thing. And then try and take it as low as you can. Not as low as you can, but just bring the volume down. But still keep that nice tone quality to it. So they're going to ask you G major immediately followed by an arpeggio. Should sound like this. Did I do that? I think I did that, didn't I? Yeah. Hints and tips. If you want a cheats version for that G major, you can play G, B, D, G, B, D, G, D, B. Everything else apart from the bottom B on 1 and 3. I don't think I did play it, did I? Arpeggios, when you're doing them 2 octaves, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, splat. So the whole thing, this will be forte and slurred. So there you go. There's your 2 octave G major followed by the arpeggio. G minor, 2 flats. You have got B flat and E flat in the key signature, and the raised 7th note if you're doing a harmonic minor scale is F sharp. So you've got G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F sharp, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat, F sharp, which is the same valve as E flat, up the top, G, and then back down again. So, and then the arpeggio is it's the same as you had before, but first valve and not second valve for the B, because it's B flat. And it sounds like this. This is, I know, piano and slurred. There. That's G minor, isn't it? Yeah. One thing there is the slur between the E flat and the F sharp. You need enough air to push that note up, to push on through the note. So don't waste all your air at the bottom. So a bit of that going on will help massively. Melodic minor. G melodic minor, you've got the 6th and 7th notes raised on the way up and flattened on the way down. So you've got G, A, B flat, C, D, E natural, F sharp and G on the way up, and then F natural and E flat on the way down. It's the E's and the F's that are changed here. It sounds like this. I played that right. I was daydreaming halfway through that, and then I realised that I wasn't concentrating on earth what I was doing. There is your G major and G minor. 1 octave A flat major, 1 octave B and E minor, harmonic or melodic, again slurred or tongued, and forte or piano. Let's run through this. A flat major's got flat in front of the name. It'll have flats in it. It's got 4 flats. A flat, B flat, D flat, and E flat. It's 1 octave. Is it tongued? A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. Still just goes around the donut. That's all it does. I put the third valve out for the D flat. It just sounds much nicer. The B minor. B minor's got 2 sharps, which is F sharp and C sharp. And the raised 7th note, if we're doing the harmonic minor scale, is A sharp. So you've got 3 to worry about. 2 in the key signature and 1 accidental. This is B minor harmonic. Followed swiftly by the arpeggio. Sorry, I keep on forgetting to do the arpeggio after the scale. E minor, 1 sharp, perfect. And that sharp is F sharp. And you've also got the raised 7th note, which is D, which turns into a D sharp, and sounds like this. Arpeggio. I was going to say something, but I've forgotten what it was. Oh yeah, and for those melodic minor guys out there and girls, B melodic minor will be B, C sharp, D natural, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then down as 2 sharps, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B. So it always comes down, melodic minors always come down as the key signature. The arpeggio for the melodic and harmonic minor scales is exactly the same, because it's just the 6th and 7th notes of the scale which are affected, which are not included in the arpeggio. E melodic minor, you've got E, F sharp, G natural, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, and then comes down as 1 sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, and E. It sounds like this. Yeah, to slur those arpeggios, you've really got to have that ba-da-da-wa. It's always the top one, isn't it? Da-da-da-wa-na-na-na. Hints and tips for slurring up to those top ones. There are 3 things you need to do at the same time. 1, change valves, which often will happen, but not always. 2, the lips need to go whoa. 3, you need to go whew. So da 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 whoo da da. If all 3 happen at the same time, you are much more likely to get that top note. If you think about what's happening here, what's happening here, what's happening here, and all at the same time. In fact, increase the air pressure first, and then ride on the top of that. You'll be fine. All right, that is your E minor 1 octave. Then we've got a whole tone scale starting on G, chromatic scale starting on G, dominant 7th in the key of G. A bit about that in a minute. We have started talking about chromatic scales and whole tone scales in the last grade. So the chromatic scale starting on G, 2 octaves, and you'll be asked forte, piano, and tongued and slurred, all that jazz. So this will be just a forte, tongued, G chromatic 2 octaves. It sounds like this. Big breath as ever. Now, it's really easy to get lost in 2 octave chromatics, so keeping your place with rhythm is massively important. There I would just slot it into 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So just keep your place like that. And the whole tone is every other note of your chromatic scale. So if you imagine if you've conquered your chromatic, take every other note of your chromatic scale and you'll get a whole tone. Hang on. Yeah. I think I messed that one up, but that's fine. You get the idea. So the whole tone of G starts. The 6 notes you need are G, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, F, and G. And then it goes round again and up and down. Okay, dominant 7th in the key of G. Let's just quickly wrap this one up. This is the dominant 7th in the key of G. Now, a dominant 7th is an arpeggio built on the 5th degree of the scale. So if we're in C major, you're making an arpeggio, which we talked about before, the 1st, 3rd, and the 5th, but start it on the 5th. So if you're in C major, start on G. C, D, E, F, G. Start on the 5th and go G, B, D, bum, 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 bum. That's what you're doing. But added spice, you're putting the 7th note from that C major scale in. So in C major, in the key of C major, start on the 5th note. So always thinking in C major, start on the 5th note. G, and then build an arpeggio, G, B, D, and then add the 7th, which is an F. Not an F sharp, because we're not in G major, we're in C major. That's where we're coming down to. This whole thing is built in C major. It's just start somewhere else. So in the key of C major, start an arpeggio, build an arpeggio, starting on the 5th note. Starting on G. There's your triad. And put the 7th note in, but not F sharp, because that's G major. It's F natural, because it's C major. Sounds kind of it's got elements of blues to it, elements of sort of pop. You know, it's got that sort of bluesy, jazzy kind of vibe to it. And it's used a lot in classical music as well. It's not a scale that's often seen on its own, but it's because it's come from the scale of C major, it wants to go back to C major. There's your C. So it pulls it back to C. You'll often hear dominant 7ths going into the home note, the scale. So in the key of G, so you've got the key of G. We've done the scale of G. It's got 1 sharp, G major this is. And you've got F sharp, so G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. But we're starting on the 5th note. Start it on D. So we're in the key of G, we're starting on D. And you build an arpeggio starting on D. Still thinking in G major. So it's D, F sharp, A, C natural, because the key of D major's got C sharp, but we're in the key of G. So that is a C natural, and it should sound like this. You can end that dominant seventh in the key note. Da 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 G. You can end it like that, which is allowed in the exam, and I think it's a bit more musical than just going. It goes somewhere. D, F sharp, A, C natural, and D. And this again is forte or piano, as requested by the examiner, and tongued or slurred. In fact, it doesn't actually say forte or piano as requested by the examiner. It just says forte or piano. So do you get to make that choice? I'm not sure. Let me know. So those are your grade 5 scales. There's also lip flexibilities, but we're going to get onto that in another video. Okay, good luck for grade 5ers. I shall see you soon when it's not quite so hot.